Circle.
Yay!
Yay! Here we are. We are live.
Oh, wait, I can do
Hello.
it now. Watch.
Oh yeah, very good. We've been doing Kundalini this morning, so Yvette had us doing all kinds of different hand things. None of which were rude, I'll have you know. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Donna and Cheryl TV. Got my special guest Yvette in the house today. Keeping it real. That one's for Cheryl, who is on her way. She's been to Weatherby. She's shuttling down, driving Miss Daisy speed, the A1 on the way.
Is she like a super safe driver, or is she like
safe driver?
I expected her to be a bit of a speed demon. Oh, is that you?
Demon in the house. Cheryl is like your typical Miss Daisy. Like she's one of the, like she likes to be in the back when I'm driving. She likes to be in the back. She says just being able to see the speed of it makes her twitchy. She had a car accident. It wasn't like a horrific one, but she had a car accident on the A1 in like a good few years back now when Holly was littler. And yeah, I don't think she was big on the driving anyway, but like that definitely like scarred her for life, I think.
Oh,
I wasn't involved in the accident, just for clarity. Was not
you didn't
not
it wasn't to do with you.
Yeah, not guilty. But yes, yeah, so she's up to her advanced pranic healing. So it's me and Yvette today.
Well, so I need to know, is this one of the new tops as well? Because this has caused quite a stir. No? Oh,
this is an older one. I've had this one a little while. This is one of Wendy's favourites.
Oh, it's lovely. It is lovely. Yeah, Wendy will love that, won't she?
I haven't done a banner on the bottom. Like it's all gone a bit tits up today, so you'll just have to bear with us, people. But we're here. We're here, which I think this is our third session so far today together.
Yeah, it's like Donna and Yvette.
So we started off with Kundalini at 8 o'clock. Not rude. At 8 o'clock, and then we had a 1-to-1. And then and now we're here today, and then directly after that Yvette has her fourth session of the day with me because I am doing like an extra session in the Real You program for the elite mastermind girls and the Real You coaching soul sister group coming together to do a very special session on money mindset mastery.
Whoop! I can't wait. Whoop. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Wendy. I knew you would like it. I was feeling like I needed to be bright today to get through the day. There's a lot of calls. It's like every hour there's a different session. And wearing a bright colour, I know it sounds ridiculous. Like it always just made me feel better.
It does lift the mood though. Yeah, absolutely.
What is that about? Like,
I don't know. It's probably the colour.
I can see myself.
You what?
I can't even actually see myself. But when I'm wearing a bright colour, like I feel better.
Dovette. What was that? When did you say that?
Like do Yvette. Do Yvette. Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. So today, speaking of Yvette, we wanted to talk. Yvette and I were chatting about what we wanted to cover today, and we thought it was really relevant, because Cheryl's gone off to do her thing, like 3 days of expanding her mind, expanding her skills, expanding literally her energetic field. Yeah, getting her power hands, her Power Ranger hands in full of force. Like she does this thing when she's healing you, where she goes like this with her hands. I'm like, God, it's so exciting. But this all came from Cheryl going away nearly this time last year. It was the September the 15th or something, 14th, 15th. She flew over to LA and had literally one of those lightning bolt epiphanies on a yoga mat. I'm sure it was a Kundalini session, and of just this whole like, I get it, Wendy. I get it.
I get it now.
Dovette. Yeah, get it. Got you. Yeah, Dovette. It's the new thing. Cheryl might not have a job when she gets back. But yeah, having this epiphany of like, I'm going to heal people. Like literally, it came through to her as clear as that. Like, I'm going to heal people, and you're going to heal with your hands. Cool, right? These angles. It's like, and Cheryl, bearing in mind, the woman didn't even meditate when we started the business. Like, I was the meditator. I was the spiritual one, she used to say.
So then she's right off the deep end.
Like she's in the abyss. The woman's like, she's going to be hugging trees. I'm telling you now. So then she had this, but she just settled with it. She didn't rush it. She hasn't tried to force it. She hasn't gone on every single healing course. Yeah, she knew that when she was ready, like she would know the right thing. And she spoke to Bianca, who you guys always all know, Bianca Rima, who's been and done about sleep and stress and all that kind of thing. And Bianca had said, like, pranic healing is the way to go for you. And obviously then the gorgeous Tanya who came and talked to us about Rahini and healing, had a message for Cheryl and said, like, you're going to be a really strong, like a really powerful healer. Like, had never met Cheryl, which was amazing. So she's off expanding her mind, all because she created some space, went for a week, not doing the day-to-day business stuff, not doing the whole post this, do that, write this, send that, back up that system. A week of no work other than sending a video every day for us to post, and great things have come from it.
It's superb, isn't it? I'm so excited for her, because I think just because about the synchronicity of how it all happened as well, you know, and the little messages that she's had. And like you say, she's given herself that room, and she's not kind of jumped on every bandwagon going, oh, I need to do this or I need to do that. She was guided to the right modality.
100%.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing sometimes, isn't it? You need to give yourself that time to know, okay, this is the right direction for me.
Yeah, and I think the first spiritual book Cheryl really read was The Universe Has Your Back. And I remember, like, you seen it, you got to read this book, like, you got to read it. And she read it and she was like, oh my God, like, it's amazing. And I was like, it is, isn't it? But she read that the month before she went to LA. She read it in the August or something like that. And then she went to LA in the September. Or I'm talking complete crap. It was the year before she read The Universe Has Your Back. She'd read A Return to Love and stuff, and then did LA. And it's just all of these different kind of resonating, I guess, with certain things, you know. And we're not like la people. We're not crazy people. We're very normal people with business brains. We're parents. We're from a working class background in the northeast of England. But the beauty of life, hey Jeannie, when you just, and this is why we wanted to talk about it today, because I think men are actually quite good. If they need time, they'll take themselves off and do something, and we encourage them to do so. They'll contemplate the navel for a little bit. Like, men can go to the pub and have an epiphany. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think
women have an epiphany, to be fair.
Honestly, 100%. But women are chronically bad at just allowing themselves space that hasn't got an intention. Like, we would go to a retreat as a woman normally with by the end of it, I want to know this. Like, by the end of it, I want to know my calling. By the end of it, I want to know my life purpose. And like, sometimes that's the point.
The heavens must open. There must be messages.
There will be a parting of seas. A dove will come and land on my knee in a pretty scroll and a red bow, and God himself will have scribed what I need to do with my life. But we're very we expect a lot of ourselves, and but we don't give ourselves the space to think, really, do we? Like, we keep ourselves. I say to people all the time, one of the biggest signs of procrastination is busyness. Like, you'd rather be busy, procrastinating, being and thinking and just breathing. Like, you were showing us how to really breathe this morning, because we're all like shallow breathing because we're busy and not thinking about breath, like the thing that sustains us.
Yeah.
But we would rather be busy than think. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Don't let me think. And we'll say it's for everybody else because we've got this to do and that to do. We are uncomfortable with sitting, just with nothing and just thinking. Why?
And I think because Abraham Hicks as well says that procrastination is because you haven't got into alignment with what your divine action needs to be. So whatever your divine, so that's exactly it. You haven't given yourself the headspace to think or to be still or whatever it is that you need to do. So you procrastinate because you're not ready to take that. Does she call it divine guided action, whatever it is?
That
next step. So
and we're uncomfortable with it. I think sometimes we're uncomfortable with just being because it's alien to us. Like, you know, like I grew up with my nan saying, if you were sitting around your idol, like just sit and watch the telly, you know, you had to be like, my nan was like a freaking fly in a bottle. Like, she'd be up and down and she was always cooking something or cleaning something. She'd literally then sit and you could literally see her, like, and you grew up with that. Like, my mum never sat, and things were harder then. Like, we didn't have all the technology to help us and wash it. Like, I remember my mum standing with one of those machines that, like, she was like all over the house trying to keep the machine still. It was like tumble drying, like drying while washing or whatever it was doing. And you know, and I just think we've grown up being very busy, and things were quite hard. And in working class families, you were always working. My dad had like 2-3 jobs at one point, you know. So I think you grew up being busy. It's like Glennon Doyle says in Untamed, isn't it? Like, if her wife would just sit, have this real like reflex trigger. I'm the same. Like when I go out over here, I'll go, you have a nice day? You have a nice day? You're sitting there, you're busy, like you're busy, and everything. So then you'll do the Glennon Doyle White where he jumps up and goes, do you want a cup of coffee? No, you just sit, that game looks really important.
I've just done exactly the same thing. I've gotten off of our call, I've gone downstairs. I'm like, so are you going to do anything on your week off, Colin? Like, are you happy? Is everything okay? And he's like, oh, okay, what's going on?
What is it you want me to do with that? Because Colin and a man can have a week off and quite happily have a week off. Like Colin will bloody knock yourself bandy playing his games on his thing. Neil will play his football game thing on his foot quite happily, or watch reruns of some football, or Caleb already has learned that you can just sit and he can chill and he can just watch.
What did he say to you on the weekend? Mum, I just need some alone time.
Yeah, he's 7. I just want some alone time, Mum. No offense, I love you, but
But I think the thing is with women, I don't know if this is the same with men, but I think certainly from my perspective, when you kind of go, okay, I need some alone time, I need to think, I need to do this, you go into this mad kind of thing of, oh shit, I've got to book a cabin in the woods, or I've got to like book a hotel or whatever. It's not. It can literally be like, we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? Because for me, I take myself off to Costa. It's not a pretty Costa. It's not in a nice, well, it's in an all right area, but it's not like looking out over beautiful ponds or anything like that. It's looking out over a main road. But that, for me, as soon as I get in there and I order whatever I'm going to order and I kind of open up my laptop, that's me. That's my space, I'm doing it. And that's just such a little micro, thing to give yourself that little bit of space, isn't it?
Yeah. Because a lot of people say that when they join the Real You, for example, they'll say, I just don't know if I can commit to the learning. And I'm like, well, if it's important to you, you'll commit. Like, there's always stuff in life. There's always jobs and families, and like it's a bit like having a baby, or what. Like there isn't this perfect time where God goes, right, you got 9 months, crack on. 9 months, nothing happens. Use your space, get it. It's just when things happen, you've got to create space for things in your life. This is what I've learned. And, this is something I'm signing up to do. And my thing was, have I got time? And I'm like, there's always time. If it's important to you, you'll create the time to do it. And when people tell me they don't have time, then I say like, oh, did you see that thing on the Netflix? Like, yeah, binge watched it. And I'm like, girlfriend, you got time. You know what I mean? So
is it that gay? Oh God, sorry, my Siri's answering me now, so I don't know what is going on. Do you know what Siri's just said? Is God gay?
Oh,
that's what she's responded.
Very, very, very possibly. Who's to
it's
say?
Very, very odd. I don't know. Yeah, my technology's not my friend today. Anyway,
she says that because in the middle of Kundalini, Colin's phone was somehow hooked up to like Alexa or something, and then started like this, which I didn't notice even. And then you were like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What?"
He was watching something online. He was watching some like advert for, I don't know, some game or something, and it was talking about prices and knockdown. And I was like, "What is this?" And apparently he was in bed going, "Why can I not hear my phone? Turn it up!" And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Switch it off.
I don't know how we were both connected to the same speaker at the same time, but anyway. But no, that time thing, was it Gay Hendricks about
it talks about how we have the whole Newtonian thing of time of 24 hours. It's very restrictive, and
and you actually, without sounding like a complete lunatic, time it's not really there. You kind of make your own time, it's and I think for
what you fill it with. So we always do this with work, for example. So if you've got a 10-hour day in work in an office, your work will expand to fit that time. If you only had 4 hours, you'd actually do what you needed to do in 4 hours.
Totally.
And we always found this with women who were, it wasn't women, it was predominantly women who worked team leaders in call centers, like on evenings and weekends, because they often did it around the husband's full-time job and stuff, and they would get done the same job as the guys who worked full-time, and the full-timers would moan they didn't have enough time and the part-timers never did. It just used to blow my mind because it was just so good at being focused with the time that they had.
I think it's interesting though as well, because I think for me, time and cutting out that space doesn't even necessarily need to mean like going somewhere or whatever. Like a lot of the time when I was doing the Real You work as well, I needed I needed the space, as in like the energetic space. So my little thing was, I used to close my bedroom curtains and I used to put my incense on and my plinky plonky music in the background, and I'd put all of the cushions around me just so that I had a nice little den almost on the bed, and then I would crack on and do what I needed to there, because that was space, and that was, I knew that I wasn't going to be disturbed. And so there's loads of different ways of doing it, isn't there? And I think
definitely. And even just to the simple things though, like what I find that when I'm coaching people, where it goes badly wrong is when you don't physically put it in the diary and decree that it's a priority for you.
Yeah.
So if you're not, putting this day or this hour, like we were talking when you've got your own business, you're used to in a corporate where your time is taken for you. When it's your business, you've really got to have a say in your mindset. So it's really important that you have days out and weeks out in your calendar where you can plan and think and just have space and write and listen and research and be. So deciding, like, if something's a priority, putting it in the diary and really holding that space is sacred, because what women do a lot of the time is they'll put an hour for themselves or 2 hours or whatever, and then somebody needs something, that hour gets swiped and they'll replace it with the other person's needs, and then they get frustrated that they're not moving forward. So there's a real guilt around us having time. I know I got up this morning and I was like, I like this hour for myself before the house gets up, as we know, and I meditated, and then I was like, I've got a busy day, so I'll now listen to something. And I thought, no, it's raining outside, it's beautiful, just be. So I didn't have any, I just sat with my coffee and forced myself for 20 minutes when I was thinking I could be doing this to get a jump on the day, just to sit and be. And then Caleb came down and sat on my knee, and we just sat there for 15 minutes. Listen to the rain. I said, isn't it boring? Isn't it beautiful? He went, no, it's really boring. But he still sat there with no tellies, no nothing. And I just thought, and my head's going, you've got a lot to do today. And all I would say is, and I'll get to that later. There's plenty time.
Yeah. And I think what Wendy's saying there about quantum physics and energy, raise the vibe, when you're vibing like that, the time thing just sorts itself out. Like if you like you say, as long as you're kind of blocking time blocks out and you're doing that consciously, everything seems to flow. And it's not to say that you're not going to get things in your day that kind of sideswipe you that you weren't expecting, but when you're in that kind of high vibe state, you can deal with things a lot easier as well. And that whole guilt, because my old yoga teacher used to say guilt is a useless emotion, and I never knew what she meant, and I asked her one day, and she was like, nothing gets driven from guilt. At least if you're angry, you take action because you're angry, and then it moves you to that next emotion.
Guilt's a much lower vibe. Like literally, because all the time you spend in that emotion, you are in inaction. You don't actually do anything. It's bizarre. And when he was just saying nothing that can't be solved with smells and plinky plonky music, I couldn't agree more. But you can have, how people have a scarcity mindset with money. Just as bad as the scarcity mindset with time. I know when I was in corporate, I was very much the same. And I remember sitting down once and I went for a nail appointment on a Saturday, which I would feel guilty about because I've been away all week. How dare I have a nail appointment? And Hannah was running like 5 minutes late. And by the time I got in the room, because I'm right, that's 5 minutes. So by the time I get back, I only have 45. And I was literally, and my energy was funky when I went into her room. She was like, are you all right? I was like, I'm fine. It's a bit rushed today. So like, we'll still need to finish on time. And she was like, oh, I'm really sorry. She was like, God, Donna, like, you're supposed to be thinking it's 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like, much time family. But she was like, and I went, look, my life is in minutes. My life is in minutes. Like I have, and I heard myself say it, and I just remember thinking, I don't want to live like this. Like I was going for my nails done. I felt like I had an elephant sitting on my chest. So I was like, this. Then I've got to go to see my grand, and I've got to do this. And then at some point, building time to relax and have fun. And it was like,
it all starts to feel so mechanical, doesn't it?
So transactional. And it's like, nobody who wants the life to be like. But then, so, I pulled it apart and I was like chilled out, and obviously left that life altogether. But that I remember, like, that moment was one of the crystallizing moments of like, how did my life get to be this, and is this kind of how I want to live my life? And so when I read Gay's, was talking about Gay's in the Big Leap, and Gay talks about, like you said, this Newtonian thing of time and how time expands, and we have this scarcity mindset. I think it's like 2 pages in the book, and it blew my mind. I was like, it's so true. It's so true.
It's nuts, isn't it?
So all we want you to do today is think. We've both frozen. I hope you can see us now. I hope you can see us now. Hey, Brooke. Hope you can see us. So today, Yvette and I, the message from us is really like, where are you creating space? I'm not saying you have to go off and go to LA for 5 days. Like, wouldn't that be nice if you could right now? But like, even just where are you creating an hour or two in your diary with no agenda? You don't have to fix anything or solve anything or do the car insurance while you're there. Just to take yourself off. You might want to read a book. You might just want to sit and listen to the rain. But where are you creating that space just to get in touch with your higher self, just to get in touch with your intuition, just to see what comes through for you? And we really invite you to try and do that over the next few days. Carve that time in and just sit with it and see what happens.
And I think when you're doing that as well, what I'm finding is when you start getting into that routine of doing that is asking, if there's a question that you want an answer to at the beginning of whatever that cutting yourself space out looks like, ask a question. And it might not come to you then. It might be that when you get into the consistent kind of thing of, I don't know, every day you do a meditation in the morning or whatever the space is, however it looks for you, you tend to find that the answers will come.
Absolutely. When you least expect it, and look for the little signs in the intuition, but do it gently. It's not about like demanding, I want an answer to this. Like, I'd love to know. I'd love some guidance with this. Thank you so much for guiding me, and just then see what comes through. Softly, you're feminine. I've dropped in there the link for the wait list again for your Supercharge Your Self-Confidence Challenge for September. I'm not telling you the date yet, but you're going to love it. It's bigger and better than the last one. So make sure, again, if you want to share that, thank you so much to the people who've already shared it and tagged Cheryl and I as well. Like, it's so amazing. The more people we can pay this challenge forward to, the better, because it is free. And it's 5 sessions of coaching, fun, antics, celebration, and mindset changing hacks on how to think differently about confidence. You're in. I knew you would be. I knew you would be. And there is a bonus for the people who are on the wait list that the people who join the challenge, once we've announced it, will not get.
Right. I think you might have accidentally signed up twice. So, well.
How dare you? How dare you? Just to make sure that you're on.
Yeah,
without you. If you and Wendy weren't there, I think there's something wrong.
I know, it's like FOMO. I'm like, no, wait, I need to be on it.
Right, guys, have an amazing day. I hope you don't get washed away in the rain. Enjoy it just as it is. It's all perfect, and we will see you tomorrow. And don't forget, I've got Nadia on tomorrow talking about how we help integrate ourselves and our kids as we go back into school, and how we start overcoming some fears, and just really, really practical stuff we can do with them. So don't miss it. Share it forward.
So good,
guys. Bye.
Bye.